Hi everybody, Dan Oman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free, exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING, get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator, exclusively on DRF Bets.
Hi everyone, I'm David Aragona, and this is the May 11th edition of Horses to Watch, where we carefully analyze trips from the past week or so, looking for horses that might have encountered adversity and could be worth betting back when they run back in the future. This week, I've got 3 replays to show you spanning the past couple of weeks at Belmont Park. I did not do a Horses to Watch episode last week with all of the excitement around the Kentucky Derby, so gonna make up for it by showing one replay from 2 weeks ago, actually last Sunday, and then 2 replays from this past week that we just completed at Belmont. All of these are turf races from 2 different days. Let's begin with that race from Sunday, May 1st. Race 9, it's a maiden special weight going 7 furlongs on the turf course. Let's break these runners from the gate. I'm going to focus on the number 2, Street Fight. Now, this is going to be a difficult one for me to watch back, as those who follow my picks at Belmont know that I liked this horse quite a bit. I think he was 11 or 12 to 1 in this race and arguably should have won, but you'll see as they come to the stretch, he gets into a little bit of trouble. The beginning of this race, though, doesn't go that badly for Street Fight. You can see that some long shots are speeding off to the front end, and often when you see that happening, it means that they're going pretty quickly up front, and you do notice the entire field is spreading out, so there are some gaps between the runners. This will be a race that falls apart at the end as those speeds come back to the field, and you'll take note of Street Fight, that number 2 horse, right in the center of the screen in about 7th place right now. That is him with those white silks. This is a John Stephens runner that was coming back off a layoff in this race. He had made a couple of turf starts last year at Saratoga and at Monmouth Park. I thought I'd run well in both of those races, but here he was coming back off the layoff with Manny Franco aboard, and you're going to want to take notice of him right here from about the middle of the turn to the finish line, because this is where the trouble begins. As I said, that's him in those white silks with the green cap. He'll be highlighted in just a second, trying to get off the rail as those long shots come back to the field, but not going to be able to really extricate himself from traffic right here, as he's going to get steadied in between these horses. Tries to split the number 12 and 4. Doesn't happen as that hole closes up, and you can see this horse loses all his momentum in traffic. Manny Franco tries to wheel to the outside, encounters more traffic there as to alter course again around horses, and by this point, the horse that's the eventual winner, the number 10, has run right past him. He got that clear run on the outside, whereas Street Fight was just altering course around traffic behind tiring horses when the real running was beginning at the quarter pole. So arguably this horse could have won the race if he had gotten that same outside run in the clear that the winner had. It would have been very close if he hadn't, if he wasn't able to win outright. But this horse clearly ran better than that finishing fourth. That 4th place finish would indicate, and I think he'll be much more dangerous when he runs back next time. Not sure we're going to get double-digit odds again if he runs back in a similar spot, because he did get a decent speed figure for this race, and I believe this was trouble that a lot of trip handicappers took note of. So we'll see where he shows up for his next start. Let's fast forward to this past week at Belmont Park. I want to talk about a couple of races from this last Thursday card, May 5th, beginning with race 5 in the middle of the day. This was a claiming 35,000 nominators of 3 lifetime race going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf course. Let's break these runners from the gate, and I want to focus on the early leader in this race, the number 4, Loaded Joe, that gray horse in the yellow silks, and you're going to see him speeding right off to the early lead in this race. But he'll have some company in the opening strides as the number 5 and the number 7 right to his outside make him work for that early lead. And rather than relinquishing the front end to them, his apprentice rider, Jose Gomez, gets pretty aggressive, gives him his head, and these 3 go off in an early battle, pulling well clear of the rest of the field. And you're going to see the fractions go up for this race, and they are heated. They go the opening quarter in just over 22 seconds, which is extremely fast for 1 mile and a 16th on the turf course. The half mile will eventually go up in just over 45 seconds. If you don't think that's fast, take a look at the Timeform US pace figures for this race. They are color-coded in red. The pace figure corresponding to the half-mile fraction is a 158. That is a very fast pace figure going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf course. And you see that half-mile fraction going up in 45 flat. These horses are going to be gasping for air by the time they get to the top of the stretch, because that is just an unsustainable pace and they will get swallowed up by the closers. But do take note of the fact that the number 4, Loaded Joe, the horse that I want to highlight, he's going to pull clear of those other two that were setting the pace along with him. That's 18-1 shot, opening up a couple lengths on the 7-1 just in time for Wine that he was battling with on the front end. Now, the eventual leaders are going to go right past him here as they come to the quarter pole, but Jose Gomez, this apprentice, is going to ask Loaded Joe to respond a little bit and hold his own as these horses range up alongside of him. They obviously have a lot more momentum built up, but it's not like Loaded Joe completely throws in the towel immediately. He tries to battle back a little bit. This light gray horse that goes on to the victory for Jonathan Thomas runs a big speed figure in this race. He's one that was coming out of some allowance races, probably was well meant on this day, and Loaded Joe does lose this race by about 15 lengths in the end, finishing 5th. But do notice that he finishes, I think it's 18 lengths ahead of those two other horses that were setting the pace with him in the early going. So I think that Loaded Joe ran a lot better than his final finishing position would indicate. He got a bit of a pace upgrade if you look at his time form US speed figure, but all in all, I think this was a much better performance than the finish would indicate. And this is a horse that has been successful going shorter in the past. So if they turn him back to go 6 or 7 furlongs in his next race, I think he could use that ample early speed that he showed here to be more successful over a shorter distance. Loaded Joe goes out for some low profile connections. Trainer Gregory DePrima, probably not one that's going to be a short price next time out. He'll be generous odds. So he's definitely a horse that I would take a look at in a similar spot, perhaps going a bit shorter next time out. Let's finish things up with the final race from that Thursday, May 5th card at Belmont Park. This is race 9, an allowance nominators of one other than going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf course for 3-year-olds. Let's break these runners from the gate, and I'm actually going to show the head-on replay rather than the pan for this entire race. And you'll notice just as I switch to the replay here, the number 8, Treausre King, he's highlighted there. He was that horse that got slammed from both sides coming out of the starting gate, and you could see there he is in that pink saddle towel with the white and black silks towards the back of the pack. And as we pick it up, moving on to the backstretch with this head-on view, notice that he's the horse that's all the way to the left of the screen here. He's getting a little bit keen under his rider, Javier Castellano, but rather than try to tuck him in behind horses and get some cover to make him settle down, he just continues in the clear, free running, seeing all this daylight ahead of him. And you could see he's throwing his head about a little bit. Javier Castellano has a strong hold on him, but he's just not really settling under the rider. And you could see the pace is kind of backing down a little bit. These horses are bunching up in the middle of the pack, and he's going to proceed 5 or 6 wide. Now, this is going down a straightaway, so he's not losing ground, but as they come to the far turn here and they break for the turn, you can see he made no attempt to get inside, and this horse is now turning 6-5 wide as they come around this bend. He tries to tuck in a little bit here, but he does so in behind a runner that is going to back up in his face, and you can see as they come to the break of the turn right here that Treausre King again spins out about 5 wide. He's just trying to pick a path for this horse so he can move up and gain some ground to the leaders, but having trouble doing so. He's following that number 11, but that horse is going backwards, and Treausre King just ends up getting shuffled all the way back to last by the time they get to the top of the stretch. From the quarter mile pull home, there's not a whole lot to see here. You could see there he is highlighted towards the back of the pack. He's going to pass some very tired runners at the end stages of this race to, I think, eventually finish 7th or 8th by the time they cross the wire. Now, I will say from a handicapping standpoint, Treausre King is not a horse that I liked in this race. I thought that he was perhaps coming off some dressed-up performances down in Florida, but based on this performance, he finished pretty far back, and I think he ran a lot better than his finishing position would indicate, just given that fact that he was out in no man's land for his entire trip, not saving ground, getting no cover, getting a little bit rank. Just a horse that ran better than I think it might show from the way he finished in this race. So if he can land at a slightly easier spot next time out, potentially at the same numbers of one other than level, he's a horse that I think could rebound to be dangerous for trainer Todd Pletcher. So those are all the horses to watch for this week. If you want to follow these horses moving forward, you can add them to your horse watch on DRF.com. Just add them to a list and you'll get email notifications when these horses run back in the future. Thanks for watching this week, and make sure to catch future episodes of Horses to Watch on upcoming Wednesdays.